A recent wide-scale study on female transgender athletes proves female trans athletes are physically disadvantaged to cisgender women. And despite this report coming out, the USA Women's Hockey just discriminated and banned trans women from playing hockey. Let me read this real quick. This is from thehockeynews.com. USA Hockey recently approved a new participant eligibility policy, which included a ban against trans athletes from all programs restricted by sex, that's in quotes, in the United States, and suspension of their transgender athlete eligibility policy. So the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is literally deciding right now on whether to allow trans female athletes or not. And they conducted a research study on trans female athletes. They worked with the University of Brighton. This is the most in-depth study of trans female athletes that has been done. It's a wide-scale study. In this groundbreaking study, they aimed to compare a range of athletic abilities between trans athletes and cisgender women. The finding that trans women athletes are at a relative disadvantage in many key physical areas relating to athletic ability and perform worse on cardiovascular tests than cisgender women counterparts. This is important, and we should talk about this a lot more in the media. But we all know the orange regime is controlling and suppressing truth and reality from media, news. And the false narrative that trans women have some sort of physical advantage is complete disinformation. It's a lie. This is being spread by hateful Republicans that want to erase trans people from public life. So the specific disadvantages that they found were reduced lung function, reduced jumping ability, and trans women, after they undergo hormone therapy, which is required for a year before you compete on these teams, your body completely changes. Your muscle distribution, your fat distribution, all of that changes to that of a cisgender woman's. If you look at my body, I don't have a man's body. So the disadvantage is that trans women have larger skeletal frame on average, but the muscle is spread a lot thinner across the body because of the larger frame. So we're actually at physical disadvantage. So let's see, the study that the IOC commissioned with the University of Brighton found trans women are stronger in some respects. Cis women have stronger lower bodies. They also found that trans women have similar bone density to cisgender women, which rebuts a frequent refrain from conservatives who have argued otherwise to justify banning trans girls and women from sports. So in other words, their reason for banning trans women, it's all bullshit. This is all just hate. And they're using any bullshit excuse they can find. All the participants in this study participated in competitive sports or took part in physical training at least 3 times a week. And all of the trans athletes involved in this study had to complete at least 1 year of hormone replacement therapy. So they've already undergone the bodily change. But of course, Republicans are going to deny this evidence because they want trans people to be the villain. They want it to be true that trans women are stronger. But this is just people who are severely uneducated on gender. They don't know anything about trans people, and yet they're fucking obsessed with trans people. This is a willing ignorance when it comes to many things, but particularly gender. They're denying research, evidence, facts, and expert advice. After seeing evidence that trans women have no physical advantage it becomes a question of whether the athlete believes in science and evidence or not. There is no threat by including trans women. The only threat is the threat of people on the right not believing in things like science, facts, evidence, and expert advice. This is delusional thinking. And we have political and religious cults to blame for spreading disinformation, specifically Alliance Defending Freedom. They're involved with overturning Roe versus Wade. They're involved with the Supreme Court trans athlete case, which, by the way, is about a lot more than just athletics. Another cult, MAGA. Another cult, Turning Point USA. They have all targeted the trans community with disinformation and evil intent. Republicans in power are abusing and shitting on the laws we have agreed as a society to adhere to. And the sickening difference between Democrats and Republicans is that Republicans will look the other way when it comes to corruption. They look the other way when their leaders break laws and aren't held accountable. They look the other way with human suffering. They look the other way when the orange regime strips away health care from American children that need it most. They look the other way when they shut down the government and Americans are starving. They look the other way when Renee Good and Alex Preddy and countless LGBT plus people are viciously murdered for no reason. They look the other way when it comes to the orange regime covering up their leaders' involvement in the largest sex trafficking ring in the world, with thousands of minors as victims. They look the other way when the orange regime cancels weather balloons and accurate forecasting and 25 little girls drown in a flood. Look the other way. That incident was totally preventable. They look the other way when air traffic control safety is destroyed by the government and planes are crashing into each other. They look the other way with the genocide in Gaza. These are not good people. These are immoral people. Thank you for listening. Please like this, share this, get this information out, leave your comments. I'll be back very soon. Bye, guys.